Now, I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that a lot of FPL managers are going to hit the wildcard button in Game Week 5. And if you're one of those managers, well, I've got a draft for you. All right, we're going to start off by talking about some defences first. And I've got some clean sheet odds courtesy here from Elevenify. Well, a couple of teams that I'm particularly interested, or one team in particular I'm interested in talking about, is Arsenal. Now, they are the top team for clean sheet odds for the next 5 weeks. This is, again, a model courtesy of Elevenify. They're number one. And I just think in general, you can always sort of back the Arsenal defence, regardless really of the opposition that they're facing. Yes, they've got a couple of tough fixtures in the next 2 against Man City and Newcastle. Arsenal just defensive. I wouldn't say defensive first, but they are so solid defensively. And I think with that in mind, they could just keep a clean sheet against anyone. Like a 0-0 against Man City would not be a massive surprise. We've definitely seen the likes of Gabriel keep Haaland quiet in games gone by, albeit not in every game, but they do have the capability to do that. And I also think St James's Park, it's a tough place to go, don't get me wrong. That's probably the most likely game where they concede, to be honest. And after that, it's West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace. And the clean sheet odds for each of those 5 games, none of them are below 30%. And for me, like a cut-off for wanting to pick a defender or not is when I see a clean sheet projection below 30%. With Arsenal, they're above it for all 5. I think there's also something else to talk about with defenders as well. So we've gone through Arsenal. I think we want a bit of coverage from them because they're probably the best defence, in my opinion, in the league. I also think there's a change. Well, we all knew this at the start of the season, but I do think it's coming to fruition in terms of defenders that are really good for DEFCON. I've got 3 that I've picked out here in Senesi, Tarkowski and Anderson. Both Senesi and Tarkowski have hit DEFCON in every game they've played so far. Senesi absolutely smashing it. Tarkowski hitting the mark in 4 out of 4 games, obviously right on the mark against Brighton. And Anderson, he got 8 against Brighton and he's hit it for every other game. And these defenders are basically just getting you 2 points per game. And I don't think anyone can safely say that Bournemouth, Everton and Fulham are bad defences. I think across the season, they will hit like an average amount of clean sheets. So what you got here is defenders keeping an average amount of clean sheets and also getting 2 points per game. I just want to say, by the way, before I get into the team itself, all of the expected points data that you see and AI ratings that you see comes from Fantasy Football Hub. Using the link at the top of the description, I get you 50% off, and Fantasy Football Hub will give you your money back if you don't win your mini league. So with this defence then, I think there's almost a changing in the meta of what a good FPL team looks like with the DEFCON. And what I've done in this video is actually providing 2 scenarios. So I'm showing you one here where you go absolutely max out on these DEFCON defenders and strong defences. And then one where the team is a little bit more balanced, I would say. So we've got Raya in goal, a double up with him in Gabriel. Anderson and Tarkowski are in there. Senesi's on the bench because he's got Newcastle. I've gone for Lacroix of Crystal Palace, who is also fairly strong. Certainly proved last season he was really strong for DEFCON as well. These defenders have, I think, pretty much every game week a reasonable chance of keeping a clean sheet, and I would back them to get DEFCON like more often than not. I really like the look of all of these, and Gabriel is probably the least likely to get DEFCON on this team, but he's not shy of it. He's done it this season. I just think the Arsenal clean sheet odds are too high to avoid, basically, or to ignore. Looking at the midfield, I also want to focus on DEFCON for the midfielders as well. For me, there are 2 standout midfielders in the game for DEFCON. You've got Elliot Anderson, who's hit 11 DEFCON in 3 game weeks. Finally hit the mark against Arsenal. Obviously, the cutoff is 12. Moises Caicedo of Chelsea hit it against Crystal Palace, missed it against West Ham, basically doubled it against Fulham, and got 17 against Brentford. He's averaging 14.75 DEFCON per game. Absolutely outrageous. And then there's also another midfielder, not a DEFCON one, but I do think there's a strong argument that Semenyo could well be the best midfielder in FPL right now. You know, with Bournemouth not being in Europe, he's going to play every game, probably for 90 minutes. He takes penalties, as he proved in Game Week 4. I basically feel like he's this season's Mbumo in terms of like the boxes that he ticks for an FPL asset. I just think he's amazing. So the midfield of this team, no surprise that it's got one of Caicedo and Anderson in it, and obviously Semenyo. Alongside those two, I've gone for Salah and Paquetá. You could quite easily sneak in Elliot Anderson if you wanted to. I fancy spending the little bit extra on Paquetá because whilst I don't think he hits DEFCON quite as much as Anderson will, I think he's going to do better for attacking returns. He seems to be really popular amongst other content creators as well, to be fair. I think they're spotting something similar to me. So yeah, there is a case after Game Week 5 that you could go without Mo Salah, right? I personally can't bring myself to do that. I think Game Week 5 he's the best captain, and obviously you probably want Haaland in 6 and in 7. I can't ignore what Mo Salah's doing. Even if he's not playing well, he's still getting attacking returns. And up front then, with this team, I've gone for Haaland and João Pedro. I just think these are probably the two best forwards in the game right now. I've seen a few content creator wildcard drafts with Gyökeres in there, which I think is a perfectly decent option, especially considering he's probably going to be on penalties for Arsenal. But I'd rather spend the extra just on other areas of the team and save a little bit on João Pedro. I think you've got to have Haaland. Yes, the Arsenal fixture in 5 is not amazing, but I think Burnley and Brentford, both of those games, he's arguably, well, in terms of the expected points he is, and I think in my opinion, he's probably a better captain than Salah as well. So I think if you're picking a wildcard team in Game Week 5, you need to have Salah to captain him in 5 and then Haaland to captain him in 6 and 7. So you've got to have both. I think this team offers a fair bit of balance in terms of those DEFCON defenders and midfielders, and then also sprinkling in some of the better assets in the game as well. So this team, 60.7 is the expected points figure for Game Week 5. It costs 99.4 million. So what I've tried to do here is create a team that everyone can afford. If you're doing well from a FPL finance perspective, you might be able to upgrade 1 or 2 of these positions. Maybe Paquetá could go up to Njai. In fact, I could do that in this team, to be fair. But yeah, Njai's done all right for attacking returns in DEFCON, to be fair, hasn't he? So you could do that. That's one position you could upgrade. Likewise, you could upgrade maybe one of the cheaper DEFCON defenders to someone more expensive. But I think this is a fairly well-balanced team. I did also make another one. Like I said, that was the first of 2 drafts that I've done. This draft follows a very similar sort of structure. The bench is exactly identical with Dubravka, Senesi, Steve and Krupi Jr. But I've saved a little bit on the defence. So I've not got Tarkowski. I've not got Gabriel. I've gone cheaper on terms of defenders in terms of getting Richards in, and I've got Van de Ven. I think these two will do just fine. And then it's allowed me to bring in Bruno Fernandes as well, who I think is one of the stronger midfielders in the game, regardless of how Man United are playing. All the set pieces he takes, penalties he takes, and DEFCONs he's going to get. I think he's a really strong option. I just think this may, I don't know, some people may be drawn more towards this because these players are probably, this team is probably more set up to get more attacking returns. Whereas this one is a little bit more focused on the DEFCON points. I do think actually you could go, the more I think about it, the more you could go for Njai there, if of course you can afford him. So yeah, a couple of options there for your wildcard team. I think both of them though, regardless of which one you pick, will serve you well. Alright, well that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. I didn't want to take too long going through this draft because I don't think all of these players need massive explanation. Yeah, I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments if you'd make any changes to this team. I'd be interested to hear it. Just all I say is if you disagree with my picks, all I ask is you just be polite about it. I don't mind if you disagree. You know, FPL would be boring if we all had the same opinions and same teams, right? And if you haven't already and want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just there on your screen. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.